Well, good morning, Hillside. As some of you already know, it is my usual custom to open up with the Lord's Prayer in the ancient Aramaic tongue, which I'm going to do right now. Shall we pray? Awun washbiyanit kadeshishmach te malkuthach nechwe seviana ke Canada shmeya apar haulan lach masunkanan yaumana washwachlan hau bain e Canadap hanan shwaken lahayewen la talanisiona ella pasen min bisha mithol lilachi malkutha haila tishbochta la alam almin. Amen. Considering what's going on, several things came to me to what to talk about this morning. And I didn't really have a title, but if I would use a title, what I would say is, what is man? What are we? And of all the times to contemplate what we are, we need to contemplate that right now. What are we? Notice I didn't say, who are we? I said, what are we? Which reminds me of the Psalm. The 8th Psalm, and verse 4. It says, what is man? Then it goes on to something else. But what I want to get to, what the psalmist was after when he said, what is man? Let me give you the Aramaic words there. The Aramaic word for man that was translated as man there is called gaura. That's how we pronounce it. Gaura or gabra. Gaura means what is, when it says man there, means what is this fleshy being with all this strength and power and energy that flows through the physical form? What is man? But the second phrase of that same verse says, asking the same question, and in Aramaic we say manau. Manau means what is. Manau, gaura, what is man? But the second phrase of that verse says, what is, we translated, son of man. And that's literally translated from Aramaic. The word there is barnasha. Manau, barnasha. So we have two different words here. Gaura and barnasha. What is barnasha? We just say again, we say son of man, but it doesn't mean that. It means, first one is, what is man with all of his virility and all of his power and all of his energy and all that he is physically? But when it comes to the second one, when it said barnasha, it refers to more of the mortality of man. In other words, man who is here and then gone. That barnasha, this is son of man, that we literally translate the whole meaning. It just simply means, what is a human? Barnasha. Jesus used this expression. You have to be careful how it's used in the scripture. In Hebrew, the word that's used there is ben Adam. Ben in Hebrew means son. Adam means man, son of man, ben Adam. And Jesus, though, when in the Gospels, he doesn't use the Hebrew terminology. He uses the Aramaic. In fact, everything he spoke it all in Aramaic. All of his healings, everything he did it in the Aramaic language, his own native tongue. And he constantly called himself Brenasha. Brenasha. It's the difference between Barnasha, which means son of man. You've also heard it in the synagogues. They call it bar mitzvah. Bar mitzvah means someone who obeys the commandment. Son of the commandments. But here when we say Brei Nasha, you're talking about an individual. Bar is general. Brei is an individual. And this is the expression Jesus constantly used, that he was a Brei Nasha. And that means here is someone who was humble, has a great deal of humility. It's totally different when we use it here. It doesn't mean it like it does in the Psalm when it says Bar Nasha. Brei Nasha here means I'm only human. I'm only human. And that's how Jesus constantly expressed himself. He ran from the terms king. He ran from the terms Mashiach, which we say Messiah or Christ. He always emphasized the fact that he was a human being, constantly. And there's a reason for that. Now, why am I talking about Jesus here when I said we're going to talk about what are we? Because what Jesus was, his life and his teachings, you have to consider both. His life and his teachings. His life means how he demonstrated God on earth. How he expressed the true image, our true identity. Now, when I say true identity, I'm not saying it against a false identity. What I mean by the term true identity is that spiritual essence of what man is. This is why the psalmist says, what is man? When you just look at him physically, and you just see the physical forces and the physical energies and the powers, and yet at the same time you see all this physical energy and all this power, and yet you know he's fragile. Man is fragile. That's why he says he's a Bar Nasha, that he can all of a sudden be gone. Whereas when it comes to Jesus, he's giving us a new picture of man. He demonstrated, if I can use this term without people misunderstanding me, he was a prototype of a new creation. It was actually, we were always this creation, but we weren't awake to it anymore. We were asleep. And so he came to awaken us. This is why in the Gospel of John, and this is what I'm getting to, we were singing that at the close of the meditation when we said, holy, 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 holy is the I am. And what I did is I have the 7 I ams of Jesus, which is found in the Gospel of John. And I want to go into it so you can get a different picture of it. Before I do that, in other words, there's 2 things we should realize about the man Yeshua. His name, Yeshua, in Aramaic means Yahweh helps. Yahweh helps. That's what his name means. He carried that entire in his being, how God helps us. And God helps us through our realization of what we really are. Notice I said what we really are. Notice I don't like to use the word who. Why? Because when we think of people sometimes and we hear certain people talking, we always think, well, who do you think you are? Who do you say? And you know, even Jesus asked that question. Who do people say that I am? He asked it of his disciples. And of course, they gave different opinions. But when he declared the I am, he went into another direction. He didn't declare who he was. He declared what he was. What he was. There's a difference. And I'm going to get to them. To the 7 I ams are the 7 declarations of what he was and still is to this day. But we participate in this. That's the secret of it. This is why when we look to Jesus, and I thought of this song too when I got up this morning. Some of you remember this old gospel song which says, turn your eyes upon Jesus. If we ever need to turn our eyes and our ears and our hearts and our emotions, we need to do it now in the midst of what we're seeing happening all around us. And here, I'm going to read some of the words of it because some of it's really good. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. O soul, are you weary and troubled? Are you weary and troubled today from hearing all the news? I mean, what of the news is there? It's just the one thing and one thing only. And it's constantly capturing our thoughts, capturing our emotions, capturing our feelings, completely dominating us no matter where you go, no matter what you do. This is dominating us. And you don't realize it, but it makes you weary. It makes you weary, and it subtly troubles you. No light in the darkness you see. There's a light for a look at Jesus. And life more abundant and free. I like that. A light more abundant and free. Where are you looking? Are you just looking at the news? Are you just looking at what you're hearing and seeing no matter where you go? In fact, there isn't much places to go. Everything is shut down. But I'm talking about a life that is abundant and free, according to this song. Then it says, turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face. And what will happen? And the things of earth will grow strangely dim. Strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. Now, I want to give you the meaning of the word glory and the word grace. In Aramaic, when we use the word glory, we use the word tishbochta. And tishbochta means song and praise. And grace in Aramaic is taibutha. And taibutha means loving kindness. So you can say, in the light of his song and praise and loving kindness. This is what it means. When we talk about the grace of God, we mean the loving kindness of God. But where is this loving kindness? This loving kindness is what you are a part of. This grace, you are a part of it. And this song and praise, you are a part of it. But it says, turn your eyes upon Jesus and look into his wonderful face. We've never seen his face. How can we look into his wonderful face? We've never seen it. We're talking about an historical man almost 2,000 years ago. Almost 2,000 years ago. And people have different pictures. Different races picture Jesus as their race. So how do you know what to look for? I don't care what you look for. I don't care how you look at Jesus. It's the image and imagination of your mind is how we look at Jesus. So we have the gift of imagination working for us when we say, look into his wonderful face. Turn to Jesus. Because it's what Jesus represents, what his life represents, and what his teachings were. It's a combination of his life and teachings. As I said, because he was the expression. Now, what are the 7 I ams? I'm just getting warmed up right now. What are the 7 I ams, and how does it apply to us? The first one that we find in the Gospel of John is, and I'm going to say it in Aramaic, how did Jesus say the I ams? How do you say I am in Aramaic? It's very easy. I can teach you right now, and you can repeat it in his sacred tongue, in his sacred language. To say I am is very simple. It's just two sounds. Enana. You said I am. Enana. Enana. I am. Enana. And literally what you're saying is I. Isn't that interesting? There's no am there at all. We double the pronoun I, enna. And we say enana when we want to say I am in Aramaic. Enana. But the next one, lahma. Enana lahma dahaye. And what does that mean in English? I am the bread of life. I am the bread of life. Listen to what Jesus is saying. I am lahma. Lahma. When we think of bread, I know this word bread, we think of an Italian loaf of bread or a French loaf of bread. But this word bread in Aramaic has many, many meanings. This is the problem with the ancient language, ancient Hebrew and ancient Aramaic. And they're both ancient and they're both holy. And this word lachma, it means the nourishment, a meal. For instance, they say in Aramaic, come and break bread with me. That means come and eat with me. Because this word lachma also has the notion of eating. It also means what is nourishing you. It means the whole meal. This doesn't mean a particular grain. It means the whole meal. And in fact, bread is considered very sacred in the Near East. Now listen carefully what I'm saying. Bread is very sacred. If there's bread on the table, now we're talking about bread, and remember, don't picture an Italian loaf of bread. The best way I can describe bread in the Aramaic way is think of a big, thin, paper-thin pizza. That's a big, round thing like this, but very, very thin. Not a pita. A pita is doubled. But this is singular and one, and it's big and round. In fact, I have a picture of myself holding a loaf of bread when I was there in the Holy Land, and I had it here under my chin, and it covered clear to my knees. That's why I could feed 40 people on one loaf. I broke off pieces and gave it with the people and shared with them. So the bread here, when there's bread on the table, you think of this flatbread. They will not lie. They won't tell a lie when there's bread on the table. They're afraid it's too sacred. And even if they found a piece of bread on the ground, they'll pick it up and kiss it and put it up high. That's why Jesus refers to it as himself as the bread of life. Of life. What gives you life? What gives you life? Now, he was not speaking of literal bread. You know that. When he says, enana lachma, the haye, and haye, the word haye is plural. It's not singular. It means anything that helps you in life. Good emotions, good thoughts, good feelings, everything. It's plural. This is the meaning of it. Enana nuchre haye. I'm sorry, I just gave you the next one. I meant to say the first one. Lachma, the haye. Lachma there is that nourishment. So what he's saying is, when you agree with Jesus and you look at Jesus and he's saying, I am the bread of life, he was talking about the new creation, what God created. There was always a new creation. When God said, let us make humankind our image and our likeness, all that we need What we call virtues are not virtues. We call them virtues, like love and peace and joy and all that. We call them virtues, but they're not. And compassion, what they are, those are the things that express the image of God. And that is in every single person that has come into this world. It doesn't make any difference what race, what religion, what background. We're all born with that. I love that in Genesis. God said, let us make humankind our image and our likeness. And that simply means is you're always connected with God. That's all it means. You have a partnership with God. You're born with it. But the trouble is we sleep on it and don't recognize it. Most people don't recognize it. Or they cover it up with other things. They're strictly struck on the idea they're a Gabra or a Barnasha instead of a Bardalacha. Bardalacha means a son of God, a child of God, a son of God. We're born children of God. Born, not inaugurated into it. We're born children of God. Every single child that comes into this world. So every person has this within themselves. Whether they recognize it or not, that's something else. So when he was saying, I am Lachma the Haye, I am that bread of life, which means you need life. You need life. Holy, holy is the I am. That is already in you. That bread is already a part of you. You are the bread of life. You have that nourishment within you. When we go into meditation, what do? We open up ourselves to that inner life and that bread of life that is already a part of us. Well, there's more, but I have to go a little faster here. There's 7, and I've only got on 1. Let me go into the next one. Enana nuhre alma. Enana, well, you already know it by now. I'm sure everyone will be repeating this. Enana. I am. Nuhre. Nuhre means the light of. Dalma, I'm saying it in my throat here. Dalma, alma means the world. The world. When I say dalma, of the world. The light. I am what gives light to the world. Through teaching, through expression, through how I behave. How I behave is how I give light to the world. That's a big responsibility. You know, people like to say the I ams, but did they realize the responsibility that goes with it? I am bread. You're going to nourish me. It's for self-nourishment and nourishing others. And light means insight, understanding. You know, when you can stand, and that's a trouble. With this virus that's running around, people are losing their ability to stand, both physically, but some of them are losing it mentally and emotionally. So the light, insight, gives you the ability, that's what nuhra, light, which we translate as light into English, nuhra means enlightenment. It means insight. This is the meaning of this word. So when you say, I am the light of the world, Jesus is saying, my teachings and my being and my behavior and all that I am is given to the world. And when you use the I am and you say it, you arouse that insight in you, that openness in you, and you begin to see and understand for yourself and for others. I'll have to go a little more fast. I have to go faster. Let me go to the next one. The next one where Jesus says, Enana tar'a. Enana tar'a. Well, what is a tar'a? A tar'a is a door. The door of your house is a tar'a. T-A-R-A. Tar'a. Tar'a. I am the door. You are a doorway. You are a doorway. You see, we don't think of ourselves in this. You know how we think of ourselves? As a gabra or a barnasha. And not in the sense that Jesus is speaking here. Listen, he's telling you what you are. Bread. Light. And now a door. You are your own door. I'm going to say that again. You are your own door. You see, that's the trouble. I'd like for you to be the door so you could be responsible. But when you realize that you are the door to peace, to joy, to love, to healing, to understanding, to insight. Where is this bread? It's behind the door. Where is this light? Behind the door. And so when you say, Enana tar'a, or just say it in English, I am the door. You could say these things in English and still get the meaning. I am the bread of life. I am. How dare you say that? I know people are thinking that. How can you say I am when Jesus is saying I am? Because Jesus is speaking from that position of his spirituality, of his being, his real, genuine being. This is where he's speaking from. He's not speaking from his physical. When he spoke from his physical, he used the term brenasha, human being. But here in the Gospel of John, he was awakening humankind to what really dwells in them. And he says, I am the door. Enana tar'a, the door to life, to peace, to nourishment. And isn't that the truth? I mean, I love it when I receive things from others too, but my door has to be open, otherwise it doesn't get in. The door of your heart has to be open. The door of your mind has to be open. The door of your emotions. But if you're critical all the time, the door is shut. Constant criticism keeps your door shut. This is why I can listen to anybody. I don't care what denomination they belong to. I don't care what religion they belong to. My door is not shut. Because I can sometimes hear, even my own students that I teach on Tuesday night, some of the things that they say. Oh, that was wonderful. And I thought, you can learn from your students too. Because your door is open. And you never know when you can hear the voice of God. Just like Balaam, who was beating and beating his donkey because it wouldn't move on the road. Because the donkey could see the angel standing there with a drawn sword. But what was he doing? He was beating his donkey. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that what we do with ourselves? We're always beating our stubbornness instead of realizing that you are the door that can see the angel. You are the door that can hear the messenger. Finally, the donkey turned and looked straight at Balaam, the prophet. And he said to him, can't you see that there's an angel there with a drawn sword? Of course, people say, oh, that's a made-up story. No, it's not a made-up story. This was a dream that Balaam had because he was a stubborn man. He was going to go curse Israel. He was going to put a curse on Israel. But in his dream, when he was riding the donkey going there, the donkey turned on him, which meant his stubbornness turned on him and said, there is an angel standing in your way. You're not going to put a curse on Israel. So the insight was there within the prophet himself. But he was determined because Balak, the king of Moab, promised him a lot of treasures and money and things. So he was going for that, if he would put a curse on Israel. But he didn't do that because God had something else in mind. You'd be surprised how God has something else in mind for you. If you keep that door open, you never know what you will hear from within yourself or from someone else. I am the door. And Nana Tara. Now the next one. And Nana Raya Tawa. What is a Raya? A shepherd. A shepherd. And Tawa means good. And it means skilled. I am the skilled shepherd. This is what he's saying. And Jesus was a skilled shepherd. He had a lot of skills. He even knew how to ride a colt who had never been ridden before. And that's why he had the mother marching out in front so the little colt would follow the mother. You know, and every time we see, we're getting close to celebrating it now, Easter, and the week before where Jesus on Palm Sunday goes in, we always see him on one donkey. But he's not. He's on one donkey. He's on the colt. And the mother's out in front. That's why he had brought both of them. And the mother's walking out in front. And the baby colt that had never been ridden before. Because he knew, as a young boy, he used to ride them. He knows. He knew how to ride them. So he got on them. And he had the one in front. This is, I'm telling you, from the Gospel of Matthew. This is where this is written. And the mother's out in front and the little one's behind. And here comes Jesus. And everyone's waving palms to the new king of the world. Look what he's riding on. A colt. One that's never been ridden before. This is the coming king? This is the leadership we're looking for? Most leaders coming in would be riding on a white horse, which represents victory and strength and power. But instead, Jesus is on a colt. And this is the king of the world that's coming on here. This is the king. Yes, he represents a new kind of leadership, a new kind of humanity. And boy, do we need this kind of leadership that can ride a colt. Everyone wants to ride the white horse. Today it would be a Cadillac or some sort of a limousine, right? Because it represents prosperity, power, strength. Jesus had a different idea in mind about leadership and how you guide people. So what does it mean? I am the skilled shepherd. The skilled shepherd is one who knows how to take care of all the sheep. All the sheep. He can doctor them, guide them, lead them to waters that are not moving rapidly so they can drink it. That's why it says still water. But it means it's calm water. You need to have the water moving or it won't stay pure. So it was water that was moving but calm. Still there. Doesn't mean absolutely still. It'll go stagnant. It's so that the sheep can drink. So when they go down to drink the water, if it's moving too fast, they can't drink it. So that's why he says he knew how to give the sheep water. He knew how to nourish them. He knew where the pastures of strength. Green pastures in Aramaic means pastures of strength. What nourishes you. He knew what to bring for the sheep. Now, what does it mean in the I am a skilled shepherd? In other words, the more you understand yourself inwardly, spiritually, the more you'll have the skill to shepherd your emotions, to guide your emotions, to guide your inner thoughts. This is shepherding. This is shepherding, and you're shepherding it all. Whoop, 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 I got to go faster. I got several more to go. Because there are 7. Now, we've gone through 5, and I could talk a long time and eat more on each one, but I'm giving it to you just briefly this morning. Enana nuhama wahaye. Enana nuhama. Oh, this is something that's powerful. I am the resurrection. Nuhama. Nuhama is the word for resurrection. I am the resurrection, which means there is an inner spring within you. If you're feeling a little down right now, if you're feeling a little sick, a little feverish, repeat this. I am the resurrection. The resurrection means the ability to stand up. The ability to stand up. The ability to balance yourself. This is what the idea is. I am the resurrection. Because in those days, they were expecting the resurrection to happen someday. They were expecting it to come. They had a doctrine, and the doctrine was the doctrine of the resurrection. But it was in its infancy. And they thought, God is going to open up the graves of everybody someday for the judgment day, the great judgment day. And all the bodies are going to come out of the grave. Well, what about the ones that died in the sea? What about the ones that were burned up in a home? What about... It was Daniel who first gave this notion to us in the 12th chapter of Daniel. He's the one who gave us this first notion, but it wasn't developed. Jesus took it to its great height. He knew what the true resurrection was and where it was and when it happens. So he says, I am Enana, the Nuhama. Nuhama has a lot of air with that. Hama. Nuhama. Resurrection. That ability to be effusive, to express, to let it go. I am what? And life. I'm the resurrection and life means this standing up is flowing with life. Flowing with life. Flowing with healing. Flowing with understanding. You're flowing with it. This is it. I am the resurrection and the life. That's literally what it says in English. Nuhama the haye. Word for life, remember, it is haye. And it's plural, meaning everything that life is involved in. Everything. Death is a part of life. And we experience, if you really experience resurrection, you have to experience death. Uh-oh. I don't like that. But it's true. The more understanding you get, the more you let go of the things you once believed. You experience a death with every resurrection. You experience a death with every single time something new comes into you. That means you let go. You know, we talk about letting go and letting God. You know, as long as holding on has a dividend, we'll never let it go. I don't care what it is. Say for instance, you're battling resentment. You say, oh, I just resent that person so much, or I resent this, or I resent that. Because I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the people down the street. You know, and you hold on to it. The reason we say, and I've had people, when I've done counseling, lots of counseling work, they say, I just can't let go. I can't let go. I said, why should you? And they look at me shocked. Well, aren't you going to help me let go? I said, no. I said, well, why not? I said, because you're getting a payoff. and they look at me, what do you mean? I said, you like it. You like it. Because you hate that person so much, that's payment. That's payment. You resent them. That resentment gives you a feeling, I'm still getting back at you, even though they don't feel it. I'm still getting back at you. And as long as you're getting a dividend from your resentment or whatever it is you're holding on to, it's not hot enough. It's just not hot enough. And that's what I tell them. I says, it's got to be hotter for you to let go. Let me tell you, do you need a seminar on how to let go of a hot pan? Do you need a book on the 7 steps to letting go of a hot pan? Do you? No. You don't need any steps at all. You need no seminar. You need nothing. As soon as you grab it and touch it, whoa, you let go. So I said, your resentment is not, and it's not hurting you enough. When it hurts you enough, you'll let go. You'll let go. And the minute I give them that realization, whoa, they let go. They let go. Because they realize no one is getting the dividend except you, and you're getting a harmful dividend. That's the interest you're getting. But it doesn't do the other. So, this is the way we look at this. Life, let it go. Let it go. And enjoy the resurrected life. Experience the death of not being able to resent that person any longer. Because you see, you liked it. Now you let it go. It has to die. And then the resurrection takes place. The resurrection and life. You have life flowing through you. Oh, I got to go on to the one. I got 2 more. I hope I'm not taking up too much more of your time. 2 more to go. And Nana, this is a famous one. Everyone loves this one. Everyone quotes this one. And Nana Urha. Urha in Aramaic means the path, the road, the way. And Nana Urha. Urha, the path, the road, the way. I am, which means my teachings, my being, my life forms a road, the way upon which one can walk. Upon which one can walk. I am, and it's going deep into that, but I see my time is getting closing on me. I got to go much faster. I have to go to the next one. Washrara. Washrara. So Urha and Washrara. I am, literally, there's no definite article there. We have to put it in English. I am the way, or the road, or the path. But it's really, I am path. I am path. I am road. Literally is what it says in Aramaic. And Washrara. The word for truth is shrara. I love the way it sounds. Shrara. Because truth has a way of shredding your old beliefs patterns. And it doesn't mean here, truth here is also a part of the path upon which you walk. They go together. This is why he says all 3. He uses the word Urha, Shrara, and Haye. How many times has Jesus used this word, Haye, in the I ams? A lot of times. The bread of life. The resurrection and the life. And now the path, the truth, and the life. All 3 together. It's all on the one path. And what he was saying again is, my life has created a path for you upon which you can walk. It also gives you the truth of being, means something that is genuine. Truth not as a doctrine. Truth that is something that is genuine. It's real for what it is. And life. This path is a path of life. This path is a path of truth, of genuineness, and true light. This is what's in you, folks, when you realize what Jesus was saying here when he said, I am. No wonder he says, turn your eyes upon Jesus. I hope you recognize what I'm saying here. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full. This is what we're doing this morning. Look full into his wonderful face. And what is his wonderful face saying? I am the bread of life. I am the door. I am the light of the world. I am the skilled shepherd. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the resurrection and the life. And the last one, this one I really like, because I can taste it. This I can taste. The very last I am that he says in the Gospel of John. You're wondering what it is, aren't you? Well, too bad I can't hear you, because I'd like for you to at least beg me 7 times before I tell you what it is. But in Aramaic he says, Enana kapitha. Kapitha. Well, what is a kapitha? What is a kapitha? But he doesn't leave it there. He is the kapitha dashrara. Enana kapitha dashrara. There's that word dashrara again. Of truth. He is the kapitha of truth. What is the kapitha of truth? The vine. The vine. He's talking about the grapevine, and from the grapevine we make wine. That's why I told you I could taste it. He is that vine of truth. In other words, that flow of the juice, the kapitha, the vine through which all of this flows through. All of this life, all of this truth flows through this. I am the vine of truth. Do you realize what you're saying when you say that? I am the vine of truth. In your being, that's why he says, you are the branches. Abide in me. He is the principal vine. You are the branches that are attached to that vine, that produce the grapes, that produce the wine, that produce the teaching. Even in Aramaic, they'll ask you, what is the wine of your church? And they're not asking for whether you drink Manischewitz or not. What they're asking you is, what is the truth of your church? What are the teachings of your church? So when he says, I am the vine of truth, which means I am that vine that nourishes you with truth, that nourishes the other branches so you can produce grapes, that produce juice, that produce the true teaching, the vine of truth. Well, I hope you got your mind, heart, and everything else that you've been watching for every single day and hearing from your friends, from everyone else, talking about the one thing. Get it off of that other vine and get it back on the true vine. Again, the song of the hymn, turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full, which we did, into his wonderful face. Did you hear the I ams? Are they echoing in your soul? Are they dancing in your heart? Are they playing on your emotions? Are they holding your thoughts? And the things of earth will grow strangely dim. Strangely dim. In the light, in the light, in that insight of his song and praise and loving kindness, glory and grace in the light of his glory and grace.